Hello, and welcome to the General Chat Podcast. I'm your host, James.
I'm AJ.
I'm David.
Andrew.
And today, as an opening episode to introduce you to all this, we're going to be talking about social groups. So, as kind of to get the board clear, what groups would you all say you're in?
See, I feel like it was weird in middle school because my friend group was like, we were just kind of irrelevant. Because it was like the last time I went to public school, we were just kind of like irrelevant losers, like as stereotypical as it is. But I guess I was like kind of an emo because I was like mid-emo phase, like 13 years old. But now I feel like I'm just, man, I just vibe. Like, I feel like I don't really have like a set friend group anymore.
So, kind of like one of the outcasts, if you get what I mean. Like, not trying to be too harsh, but...
James! That's a horrible thing to say. I mean, I wouldn't call anyone an outcast because, you know, everyone has friends, surely.
You say that. It's like, there are certain people in my school who would very much fall under the category outcast.
Well, you see, in my school, everyone's smart. So the term nerds, you know, when you use it, it doesn't really work because everyone is smart. Because everyone is in the grammar school, everyone is at a certain level of maturity and experience that no one's calling each other nerds or chads and stuff like that. Everyone's kind of respectful towards each other. So the social groups doesn't really exist. There's not really a hierarchy. And I think the only hierarchy that exists is there's the normal kids who, when it's lunchtime, they play football on the playground or they go do foot training or they just, you know, sit and talk to your friends. And then there's one group where they usually sit around on the floor and they're just playing Brawl Stars on their phones. And that's the only social hierarchy we have.
Fair enough. Andrew, what about you?
Well, okay. At my school, the social groups thing is really, really present. I mean, out of all of you, I would argue that my school has the most prevalent social groups of all. Because you see, there are plenty of people you'd say are chads, but like not chads that get girls. I mean, just people that are just generally popular. So, well, my school has 4,000 students, around that. It's a pretty big school, especially because it's private. For a private school, it's really big. So, yeah, there's that. But I'd say that like my friend group is. It used to be the group of the nerds and outcasts and whatnot, but now it's just become the popular kids' groups because kind of the popular kids merged into the nerds the past few years, which is pretty weird and cool at the same time.
How did that happen?
I have no idea how that happened, but it did. So there's that.
What?
And but I'd argue that I'm like a mix between every single social group ever because I'm not quite a proper nerd, if you must say. I'm really not a proper nerd, but I'm also not a proper chad because I'm not that stupid. Come on. Then again,
but you're always going around
yeah.
like showing off about your girlfriends, aren't you, Andrew?
Your girlfriends.
Shut up.
All of Andrew's girls.
This man is going to be linking his Tinder.
And she's gonna be listening to this, okay? There's only one. So, Natalie, I love you. Hello. But
What? No, don't use the show as a... No. I'm not having that.
I am, though. It's my girlfriend. Now, let me finish my speech. I'm just saying that, like, well, I think that the social groups thing in my school is really, really strong, but I think that's just generally stupid. So I try to be just about every social group ever. They say, oh, the nerds can't be on the sports team. No, fuck, I am. Oh, the chads can't be talking and present. No, I am. So yeah, so I just try to be every single thing ever, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that like this really strong hierarchy that's been established in my school, it kind of brings a lot of people down, which I don't like, because not everyone can just do what I do and say, oh, fuck this, I'm gonna do this and that. No. Some people just have no friends, and it's really bad because of that.
Some people just decide to stick to the status quo.
True. As for myself, I'm in a rather interesting situation where I'd say we're kind of similar to Andrew in a sense, where halfway there, if you get what I mean. People know about us, but people don't like actively seek us out, if you get what I'm saying. But for the most part,
like the middle ground.
Yeah,
Would you call it?
exactly. I know what he means.
yeah, it's the kind of, like if someone pointed to a picture of you, you could definitely say kind of, oh yeah, that's X. But, if they said, oh, do you want to go up to them? They go, no, I'm not doing that.
I think one like coincidence or one thing I always see is the sporty kids are generally, not the nerds or like, no, I don't want to say that, not the people that's low in the social group hierarchy, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's kind of, I
And-
think it's also, there's a variation between it. So it's like, because I go, unlike a couple of you here, I go to a proper state school in the sense of like, most people here are poor. And it's a situation where like, most of the sports lads, they're the rugby and football lads. And at the same time, they're the type of people who are just going to make a teacher's life living hell, as in, like, the amount of chairs I have seen thrown in my time, it's like, my God.
I don't know if I want to ask, but I'm intrigued. Who was throwing chairs and why?
Right. Funny story, that.
Oh boy.
Right, so let me explain. So we have so you know how there are like those one or two lessons who just nobody likes and everyone's basically just goes, I'm not going to do this.
Definitely.
Yeah. Everyone's,
Spanish.
for me, it's Welsh because I live in Wales. And it's like, because I really struggle with languages, I was in set 2, and that isn't like, the full on crayon eating set, but it's certainly not doing work set. But what ended up happening was that the madman himself, Mr. I'll call him Elliot for now, for the sake of privacy. Elliot had just been released from detention, and he was ready to make a claim on this classroom. The first thing he does, he sits down, he pulls out his phone, and so the teacher starts talking, says, "Oh, hello everybody, how you all doing?" Suddenly, from the corner of the classroom, I hear the Pornhub noise.
Oh no, Elliot!
Jesus, man. That's
No,
just
Elliot.
something you don't do.
So that was the first thing, and everyone was like, "Did we just imagine that? Is he actually committing that hard to the joke?" Like,
I mean, you never know. You might be doing this actual thing.
yeah, like the teacher was practically sweating by this point, like full on.
All right.
But no,
this
it
is-
escalates. It escalates.
Oh Lord.
So the next thing that happens is it's like it's been 2 minutes later. It's old news now, and everyone's like, "Is he going to try something again?" And we think, no, he couldn't possibly. He's dumb, but he's not that dumb. Suddenly, from the same corner of the classroom, I hear, "What are you doing, step bro?" And I am immediately
That's classic.
Oh.
the sweat is pouring at this point. And and
What do you do when you find your student on such a website? If you're the teacher,
Well,
like realistically, there's not
There's
much you can
literally
do.
not much you can do other than just get out the classroom, man. Please.
well, that's what she
You
did.
can't just say like, "I recognize it," because then you'll be missing a sin that your students will then know.
But
So
so what she does is she's like, "Elliot Clagy, I know that is fucking you. You are getting out this classroom right here, right now." And now at this point, he's practically dancing up and down the aisle, like he's making a big deal out of leaving. And then eventually, one of the other boys called Lewis, he's like ribbing into him because of the fact he's been sent out, and he's probably going to get another attention. So let's go through the options here. Option 1, ignore him and continue to do your little gag dance in the middle of the class just because you're having a laugh. 2, you could leave the classroom and just, take the defeat. You've already been made the king of the class. There's nothing to challenge. Option 3, pick up the local chair and fucking throw it straight at that man's head.
Oh, I forgot that the story had to do with
Jesus
chair
Christ.
throwing. And like I'm just getting taken in for a loop after loop. Oh god.
So
okay, continue.
that then happens immediately after he's thrown it. he's made a huge mistake. This has gone from like the funny gag to like, oh dear God. So he instantly bolts out the classroom, like running down the stairs. And like I'm sitting next to the window here. I instantly get up because I'm like, I gotta see this. And then I see the man just full on sprinting across the courtyard with Miss chasing after him. And it's just like, what a legend. What an absolute legend.
Elliot. Oh.
Here's the only thing I have to say about that, though. Like,
Jesus.
it's like, imagine like the thought process. Like you're in class and your teacher's like, "Listen up, you child, like you gremlin. I know it's you. I'm giving you a detention," and your mind just goes, "Bruv, you know it would be amazing right now. Let me just
Let me
throw
yeet
a
this chair on you, you
Let
bastard.
me yeet this chair across the room." What has to be going on in your mind for you to be like, yeah, that's obviously the next logical step to take?
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Like,
obviously.
what else are you gonna do?
Right.
What else
Just
do you-
Alright.
No.
I have a story that's a little bit more calm, but it's just this. Okay, it's not just this, but like it's a story I'm the main character of. Let's just put it like that. Okay, so earlier I was talking about how I'm not a particular group at school. I'm not a particular set of, I don't have a particular set of characteristics that would put me in this group without putting me in
He's
the other
lying.
at the same time. So
Chad.
they say that.
He's 100%.
They say that, but okay. So 8th grade, I was 13 years old. 8th grade, not 8th grade, but 8th year. You get me. So I was there, just vibing, a geography class. I had just entered the school, new people, new teachers, new materials, new everything. Private school, the drill. Just knew everything, and I was quite excited for that new school. But me being the absolutely bastard that I am, I just decided that like, this geography class, no, it's boring. He was talking about the Chinese Civil War from 1930s and 20s. David will probably know what I'm talking about.
Don't disrespect the Chinese Civil War.
Yeah,
Andrew. Watch where you go.
I was about to say, there's been a lot of Chinese civil wars. Like,
yeah, but the most recent one, let's just say.
yeah, that'd be about 1945.
About that, yeah, about that. He was talking.
Andrew showing he clearly didn't listen.
Jesus,
Yeah,
shut
it's
up.
gonna,
No. Let me finish my story. Can I finish my story? Okay. No, he was giving that one class, and like he was. This is so. I was like, this is so boring. Jesus Christ! And no, I started talking to this one dude that sit right next to me, and he was like, Andrew, don't you know a lot about that stuff? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I play Hearts of Iron. I was just joking. I that's not the only way I can know about that, but yeah. Yeah, I do like that subject. And he was like, could you please make the teacher stop giving such a boring class? And I was like, oh, okay. Then I just raised my hand. I was sitting in the front corner, right next to the door, front right corner. And I just raised my hand and I said, sir, can I give this one class? Can I finish it? And he started laughing and he was like, sure, okay, you can do that. So we had like 30 minutes left for that one class. We had been there for like 30 other minutes. We had 30 minutes left and he just, all right, I want to see you do this, lad. And he was like, that one angry teacher, he's really, really, really angry. And he loves seeing one student fail himself and just in front of everyone, you know that kind of teacher. Yeah.
I hate that I know exactly what kind of teacher
he's
you're
that
talking
one
about.
kind of teacher. And he was like, I know you're going to be able to do this. And I was like, oh, you bet. So I just started talking and I started like, so can you please Google this and that and put that one map on the board? Thank you. And then I just put a bunch of maps on the board and I started drawing on the maps the movements of the armies and the conquered things. And, that kind of deal, like that kind of geography class. And just, the test was in 3 days. The test was in 3 days, the geography test. And that was the one class we had to, look back on everything and just learn what we hadn't learned yet and just get our questions out, that one kind of class. Yeah. I was just there and I finished the class. And everyone just clapped for me. And I was like, no, I didn't do this because I want to show off. I did it because it was boring. And the teacher was like, he started laughing. And he was like, okay, you did well. Now let's see the results on the test. Actually, turns out that was the one test everyone got at least 80% on.
What?
Look at you.
I liked.
Andrew.
See, sorry.
I like to
continue.
imagine that Andrew's girlfriend was just sitting in that class, and then with Andrew drawing tactical movements on a map, she's just like, "Damn, you know what I need in my life? I need a man who can tell me about the military maneuvers of the Chinese Civil War."
But
See, sadly, unlike Andrew, like I actually fit into, or I used to fit into a specific social group. Like all of my characteristics matched one specific social group when I went to public school. So let's take it back to like 4th, 5th grade. So like ages maybe 10, 11. I was already fitting into these social groups at ages 10 and 11. So let me tell you, I was a loser. And I know what you're thinking. You're 10 years old. How can you be a loser?
Yeah.
Yes, I was a loser at 10 years old.
Still a bit
same
harsh.
though, same.
Let me tell you why. After I tell you this story, you will completely understand. You'll be like, nope, never mind. Not harsh at all. So pretty much, I had my group of friends, and one of them was named Sky. And because her name was Sky, we were like, yo, it's so funny. Your name rhymes with fry. Let's call you Sky Fry. And then suddenly a group was born. We all had nicknames related to French fries. And because I was like the token brown kid with curly hair, I was Curly Fry, of course, right?
Right.
And we used to march around the playground. And we had like a whole battle cry and everything.
Oh,
We
no.
would march around the playground. And you know what? We would go salt and ketchup. Salt and ketchup. And you want to hear our battle cry because I still have it ingrained in my head. It's our battle song. Do you want to hear it?
I said not
Not particularly, no.
Do you want...
No, straight up
wait,
do
no,
it. Do it.
James,
Dude,
James.
just do it. All
Okay,
right,
see,
do it.
that's what I needed. Okay, we were called the Salty Union, by the way.
Oh.
Salty Union, hear a battle cry.
Oh, she's actually singing it.
Salty Union,
Oh, she's
come
actually singing
here to
it.
destroy. Salty Union, Salty
Jesus Christ.
Union.
I'm
Salty
sorry for your years. Whoever it is your name, whatever it is your name that you're listening to this.
We did
I'm
like
sorry.
a little kick at the end. So we'd go like ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba, and then we'd like kick.
Jeez.
You know, I gotta say,
And we did that every single day. So I have a question for you, David. Do you still agree that me saying I was a loser is too harsh?
Worse than playing Brawl Stars.
no, this
That's
is the thing.
worse than literally giving a class for your 8th grade class on geography randomly.
You know?
No,
The fact that
Oh,
you
yeah, I
knew
was a
that off
loser,
by
man.
heart as well.
this is the thing. The actual tune of like how that went, it is like David will know exactly what I'm talking about. It is scarily like Bob the Builder, as in like Bob the Builder.
Oh my God.
Can he
Yes.
fix it? Bob the
Oh my
Builder.
God.
Yes,
I
he
did not
can.
notice that until right now.
You were just ripping off Bob the Builder of all people.
Dog, I wasn't even the one who came up with the song. It was this other girl in our friend group. She was like the smart one, not gonna lie, or at least she was a smart one for
She
a
was a
little bit.
smart one.
And then
she
like
came
we
up with
got into
that.
high school, and now she's like a dumbass. But
No.
she came up with the song, and apparently, like at first, she came up with this like solemn ballad battle cry, and then they were like, "Change this. This is too sad. Change it." We had T-shirts and everything,
Oh,
man.
God.
But
They
apparently,
teach us.
I like stopped
Oh,
hanging
no.
out with them halfway through the year, and then I like went back to hanging out with them. So I just didn't have a T-shirt.
Alright.
And they all had matching T-shirts, like
sound like you
custom-made
wanted
matching
one.
T-shirts, and I just didn't have one. And they were like, "Oh, you're our honorary number."
Ow.
Excuse me.
Ow.
Oh, that hurt.
You're the outcast.
That must have hurt.
Outcast.
And then I was like still friends with them in middle school, but there was just so much drama, bro. So much drama because it's a bunch of like preteen girls.
You know,
Can I ask one question though? Wait. Who
Go for it.
came up with the like nickname of Skyfry?
Honestly, I can't remember at all. Honestly, you know what would be really sad?
She came up with it
It
herself.
wasn't you, was it?
I'm really hoping. Oh my god, I'm really hoping suddenly because I just called that girl dumb that none of them ever see this.
Oh dear
If
God.
you do, I apologize
Because they would know
in behalf
exactly
of us.
who I'm talking
Andrew's just here apologizing to everyone.
No, this is the thing. This has reminded me, like, when you said kind of, yeah, this is actually a bit solemn. It reminded me so much of, like, one of the groups at my school. So there's this one group who it's like, these are the type of people who, no matter whatever the weather, will always come in like full black and leather. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
This just reminds me of myself when I was like,
Yeah, but
14.
like you guys have all seen that type of group.
Yep.
Yes, because I was that type of group.
Yeah, so basically, I think it was like year 8, year 9. Like they were going through their like kind of cult phase in the sense of like they're kind of, oh, we're so scary. We're gonna do all this kind of weird stuff in the background. And like just because of like circumstances, I had a friend who was in that group, so I was always told kind of what was going on. And they came up with this idea called the shit list. And the shit list was literally like, it was just a hit list of like every single time someone pissed them off or like insulted them, they would just like quietly note it down. And I honest to God thought like someone's going to get stabbed at the end of this. Like I was
God.
not happy.
Well, I have a
Really
story
respect
that's
society.
kind of like that, but except I'm the only victim, and it's actually kind of sad, actually.
Well, hold on.
Um,
What is like, David, have you got like any social group stories? I'm interested to hear what you've got.
Grammar school wise, not really.
Yeah.
There's been fights and all
Yes.
that, but do you want to hear about
Give
fights?
us drama.
Oh dear Lord.
Give us the tea.
I can tell you the over exaggeration, like how a
Oh, of
fight can get
course.
over exaggerated. So basically, this one person in my class, I'm not going to name them. They're going to hear it probably, and I apologize in advance. But it's not like everyone doesn't know the story already. So they go into a fight with another kid, and unfortunately, they lost horribly. He didn't get beaten up or anything. It's just the other kid happened to do some fucking karate kick on him and hit him in the face with his foot. And at that point there was a big crowd around him as well.
Oh yeah, it's the Thunderdome. It's the
just going
Thunderdome.
like, oh, exactly. And when you've been there and you've been beaten like that, there's no going back. But it wasn't that bad. It was just like a little kick, and he didn't really get hurt or anything. But yeah, after that, he got separated. But then over the next few days, like a kid getting like kicked in the face turned into, oh, he cried after he got kicked. Oh, he got beaten up, and it just got really over exaggerated until like everyone was bullying the kid that lost for losing that bad. When the fact was, that he didn't lose that bad. And then I think the aftermath was that I think they had another fight. And then the kid lost again. So, I think the over-exaggeration is there, of course, in schools. Whereas different groups, especially because they were from like different social groups as well. The kid who like lost was kind of like the class clown.
Yeah, I know the type you're talking about.
The kid who,
Yep.
So, and the other one was just good at sports. So I guess that kind of helped it on a little bit more. But again, it just shows the fact that school, you can't trust anything.
Yeah,
Fake
yeah, no,
news.
I'll just say, I don't want to talk about this story, especially not here in this podcast. Maybe if you lads want to ask me later, but when I was 13, no, it's serious. When I was 13, there was this whole guy trying to plot a murder against me and all this in my school. Yeah, no, and he threatened me with knives and shit. It was serious. It was serious shit, Yeah, it's just.
It was like real fucking nice.
Yeah, just. Yeah.
What the fuck?
So I just want to say, if you've been through this, because I have been through this, if someone threatened you at school, or if some kind of shooting or some bad thing happened at your school, I just want to say, be proud of yourself for holding on, because I know how hard it can be and how hard it is. So I just want to bring a more serious tone, because we're coming to an end to this episode. So just congratulations on holding on, man. You got this.
I was about to say, to move on to a lighter subject than the potential of getting stabbed in a corner. So, what was your kind of school unity moment, if you will, where kind of the whole school comes together? Because
I have a good one.
Yeah, I have a good one.
Ooh,
So we'll start with mine
too,
first.
actually.
We'll start with mine first. So, as I said, I come from a poor school. Kind of getting into fights and whatnot, it's seen as like a pretty, getting into fights is kind of the biggest social status thing you can do. Now, there was this one kid who was about 2 years below me, where he caught on to this idea and he thought to himself, oh yeah, I just got to get into a fight and record it, and I'll be like, I'll be the next big thing. But he chose the worst target he ever could. Because you want to know who he picked?
Did he pick the guy who threw the
Did he
chair?
pick the quiet kid?
No, he picked the disabled kid.
Oh no!
Oh,
no!
Oh, God.
He didn't.
So this is the thing. On the bus, him and his mate record him beating up the disabled kid on the bus, and he puts it on his Snapchat. And I cannot describe this. The very next day, there is what I can only describe as a mob. Everything from the youngest people to the oldest people in the school. We're all just on a manhunt for this guy. And you know what he had to do? He had to hide in isolation for the entire day just because he knew if he stepped out of there, he was dead meat.
He did.
See,
That's just a poor life choice. It's just.
I have a pretty good story too, actually.
Oh yes, go on.
I'm not going to name the school
Don't.
because
Not good idea.
it was like one of the officials. I'm like, I don't know. I just like don't want to. I don't want anything to like happen. you know what I mean? But-
That's the wisest.
Right. And so pretty much I'm Muslim, right? I've talked about this before. I'm Muslim. And for a little bit in middle school, I wore a hijab, I wore a headscarf because I was trying to convince myself I was religious. Oof. But, and I went to like a very, very white kid type school. And my stepmom at the time, also, she is Iraqi. So she's from Iraq, whatever. And she's a substitute teacher. And she was subbing for my math teacher at the time. And this kid sitting next to me was like, because the teacher was out for like a couple weeks. So my stepmom was subbing for a while. This kid next to me goes, "Man, I want Miss Blank back. I'm tired of this ISIS teacher."
Bro, Jesus.
Let me tell you how quickly, first of all, I had teachers on my side, okay? I was 13 years old, and my science teacher was the best teacher you could have ever asked for. I remember I told her, and she goes, "Do you know what the kid looks like? What does he look like? Do you know his name?" And suddenly all of my science class was on this manhunt to find this kid.
The science class.
Because we're like, no. We don't appreciate that Islamophobia here, sir. We don't appreciate calling no freaking Muslim an ISIS person or an ISIS teacher. We don't mess with that. So all of my freaking science class is like on a manhunt to find this kid because none of us like knew his name. It was also like the most like, what's the word? Irrelevant. It was the most irrelevant person either. So it's like, okay, you don't even have like a high social standing. So like, and you still have the nerve. Okay, cool. So eventually we found out who the kid is and we got him in some deep trouble. Which
One thing
was really
kind
dope.
of, I hate to say it, but of course, saying those things are wrong, and saying those things, especially when, there's the teacher is of that ethnicity, is really, really something that's a fucking shit thing to do. But I've had instances where when people have done that, it's not because of that's what they think. It's because of peer pressure and the fact that they want to be part of the cool kids. And they do that by bullying the lower ones, and not necessarily like
Right.
racism or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when someone does something like that, it might not be because of
example-
hatred or racism
For
or anything
example,
sort. It's just
this
But
is
that's still
this-
not an
no. I have
excuse,
a
you
really
know?
interesting example to give on compliments of that one story of Aspens. You know, at my school, I live in Brazil. Se você é BR, está ouvindo isso, é nóis. But I live in Brazil. I might not look or sound like it, but I do. It's in São Paulo. So, as you may know, Brazil is not exactly the whitest country in the world. So it's not exactly
Yeah.
the whitest country in the world. However, I am white. I am really, really white, and I'm half German, half not Italian. So yeah, I've got all the
Casual
names.
brag there. Casual brag.
I'm not bragging. Why would I be
white. I am
bragging?
really,
Everyone
really
is white.
This
white.
is not bragging. Stop making me look bad and let me tell my story. Jesus Christ. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's not the whitest country in the world. So a lot of people in my school
Yes.
are not white. Wow, such news.
Yes,
Such
yes.
news. So there was this one group of kids, and they just. This was this year actually. This year before the pandemic and everything, before the lockdown and whatnot. So there was this one kid, and he's not white. I'll not say, but you know, he's not white. And he just started making fun of me for being really white. He started calling me Adolf and whatnot. So,
Wait,
Oh,
and what-
God.
wait. What doesn't make sense?
because I'm German. You
What?
first.
You're
No,
German.
Yeah,
not
he's half
German.
German.
I'm
He's half German.
I didn't know
I just
that.
told you. I just told you
He
I
just
am. But
said
yeah,
it.
he started calling me those
Yeah, yes,
things,
yes,
and
yes.
he started, you know, just making fun of me for being white. And just one thing I thought was like, I'll just shut up because I can't make fun of him for being black. I can. I'll just shut
Exactly.
up, I guess.
Oh,
And it's just
God.
like, why did he do that? Then I asked him, like, are you for real, man? Are you for real going to make me look bad for being white? I can't control it. And he was like, no, I just want to fit into the other kids. Oh, that. So that's complimenting what David said, because, you know, some people just say those kind of things to just fit in, I guess, and be popular.
Oh yeah, it's like there is this one kid in my year who has got. I have to say his last name just because it's a complete banger of a last name, but Grindley, literally Grindley,
Hello, Grindley, if you're watching this.
Grindley. If you're watching this, we all know that your name's a bit trash. We all know, but
Oh,
Leave
God.
Grindley alone.
no. Grindley has
Yeah.
done some questionable acts in the past. Some very
Oh, okay.
some
fine.
very questionable acts in class. But it's like with Grindley, you've always got to be so careful because it's like, on one hand, you know, it's like, is he just doing the edgy humor? On the other hand, you're like, are you like actually saying this? Because it's hard to tell with you. It's like there was a moment which was like the worst, which was like this lowest moment of my school career, which was I was walking back from PE. Grindley was walking right by my side, and he turned to me and said aloud, "You know, my ass is really itchy." And everyone just turned to look at me and him because they all thought I had been talking about having an itchy ass because that's what he just said. And of course, I was just like, no. I have nothing to do with this. Do not associate me with this.
Oh, okay. Jesus
Just
Christ.
so
Who
bad.
the hell does that? Okay, I have one story that's related to this, really related to this, and it's really recent. You know, it fits in well. No,
Related
not
to
itchy ass, but like
I don't
not
know if
itchy ass.
I don't know if I want to hear this one, Andrew.
Not itchy ass, but like just saying things saying things you shouldn't say. So yeah, so this was like the first or second day of class at my school this year. The virus was going about already, and you know it was like February or something. So yeah, the virus was a thing, but not yet in Brazil. Not yet in Brazil. It didn't. It hadn't gotten to Brazil yet, but it was a thing in China, especially at the time. And at the first day of school, I just started coughing. I was coughing a lot because I don't know. I don't know. I was coughing a lot. I was kind of sick, but I was with my friends that one day, and there was this new kid. He was a new kid. He's Japanese, but he looks like you, David. It's the one kid I said that looks like you. Yeah. But he's
how are we going to interpret this? Because like you're
no. Let me say this. No. It's not. It's just he's Japanese, but he looks Chinese.
It's not.
No, it is. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, Andrew.
He's Japanese, but he looks Chinese. So I started coughing, and then I just turned to my friends, and they were like, "Are you okay?" As I like, when you're coughing really, really bad, you kind of lose your breath. Yeah, I was like that, and he was just saying, "Are you okay?" And me being me, I just said, "I don't know, man. There's a Chinese dude over there. I don't know. It's kind of sus." Oh man, I shouldn't. And then he heard me. He heard me, and he looked at me with a dead stare. And I was like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't. I'm sorry."
You really just hit my man with the accidental racism. My God.
No. I disagree with that. I don't think that's Andrew's fault at all. When someone it's happened to me before, and I think in that instance when someone do call you by the wrong race, but they don't know, you can't blame them for that.
Not only did I misrace him, I just made a joke about his race because the virus was on China and whatnot. So yeah, in Asia.
Well, I still don't think it's that.
I don't know, but okay, I kind of want to talk about my private school experience because I feel like it's really funny, and I want to talk about social group hierarchy, but on a different level. Because it's, you're like 6 years old. So how do you tell if somebody's a good person or not? Their snacks, let me tell you. If you had a fruit roll up, people sat with you. If you had Doritos, people did not sit with you. I can relate to that. If you had hot Cheetos, people sat with you. And there was like this hierarchy of snacks at like my private school when I was like 6 years old, right? And it was already weird enough because there was a lot of different like hierarchies with skin color, low-key a really racist school. But my point is one day this girl had a slushie, and she just happened to be a girl that my friend really disliked. So my friend and her friend really disliked said girl. Girl had a slushie, So my friend and her friend go into recess. This is her story, by the way. It's not even mine, but it makes me think, So they go inside during recess because they asked the teacher if they could like go get their snacks or whatever, Teacher's like, okay, sure, just like hurry up. So she goes inside with her friend, and they apparently like considered like pouring hand sanitizer in her slushie. At like 6 years old.
That's only slight poisoning.
Slightly poisoning her.
But like at the same time, it's like in the end, if you took a sip of your slushie and that tasted like hand sanitizer, you wouldn't be like, oh, fucking yummalicious. Like you'd spit it out. It tastes disgusting.
Fucking yummalicious, hand sanitizer.
Yummalicious, man. Like you'd spit it out because it's hand sanitizer. It doesn't taste good. So, like, in reality, nothing bad would have happened, but they almost, like, fucking killed a bit. There was always some kind of drama. There was always some kind of, like, almost death. There was a time a kid, like, jumped off a swing and, like, broke his, like, shoulder. Like, he dislocated his shoulder. And I'm like, man, how high was this swing, dog?
I've seen people go like around 360s on a swing, and that's shit. I'm never.
Well, I've already cracked my. I've already almost cracked my head open this thing. Oh my god.
Well, I think with that absolute highlight of a comment, I think that would be the best time to put an end to this and perhaps open it up another day. So Thank you, everyone. It's been very fun to do this first episode, and we're hoping to bring you more. Thank you for listening. This has been James.
This has been Andrew.
This has been AJ.
And this has been David. And from now on, we'll be uploading on Sunday and Wednesdays. So subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, and follow us if you're listening on something else. And again, thank you for listening to this first episode, and I hope you enjoyed. And see you in the next one.